This is part 4 of this tutorial about how to draw a floor plan using ArchiCAD, and we are going to continue from where we had stopped in our previous tutorial. And I'm going to begin by showing you how to open and edit an elevation using ArchiCAD. Click on the elevation, right click, and select Open with Current View Settings, and this elevation will appear. We are going to edit this elevation and make it more attractive. Right click, we are going to begin by right clicking and drop down to elevation settings, and the elevation selection settings will appear. Under model appearance, we are going to begin with cut elements. Click on cut fill. Under uniform services, we are going to select this. That's the first edit, and then click OK. Right click and click on elevation settings. Under uncut elements, click on this and click OK, and you'll notice there is a change in our elevation. Right click, drop down to elevation settings, and under uncut elements, select that pen and click OK. Click on elevation settings and select transparency. Check that box and click OK. And you'll notice our windows are now transparent. Right click, select elevation settings. Under shadow, check that box which is under sun settings. Those are the angles, and click OK. And you'll notice there is now a shadow in our elevation. The next step I'm going to show you is how to insert objects in an elevation, and you're going to begin by inserting people in this elevation. Under design, drop down to object tool, and this will pop up. At the top, type people, scroll down, and you're going to choose this. Now let's enter settings. Under preview and positioning setting, this is the width, the length, and the height of this object. Under custom settings, click on 2D representation, and here you can change the type of fill. Under 3D representation, these are the settings, and under floor plan and section elevation, these are the settings. Under model settings, this is where you can edit them, and these are the classification and properties settings. Once you're done entering the settings, click OK, and then click once in the floor plan to insert your object. Now let's change the fill type of this object. Click on the object, right click, and click on object selection settings. Under custom settings, click on this type for fill, and then click OK. That's how you can change the fill type. Now in this other step, I'm going to show you how to insert trees in our elevation. Under design, drop down to object tool, and at the top type trees and select this tree. Under preview and positioning settings, these are the settings for our tree, and this is the height. These are the settings for this tree. Under this, click on 2D representation, and for the view type, select symbolic side view, and for the symbol type, we are going to choose this type, and then click OK. Click once in the elevation, and your object will be inserted. Click on the object, right click, click on object selection settings. Under preview and positioning, type 7,000 as the height of our tree. Click on it and drop down to display order and click on send backward. Click on it again, and your tree is now in the background. Now let's drag a copy of this tree and place it here. Now let's edit this tree, and we are going to choose this type of symbol. Click on that and then click OK. drag a copy and place it there. Then let's drag a copy of this and place it there. Now I'm going to show you how to insert a vehicle in this elevation. Under design, drop down to object tool and then type car and then drop down to this car symbol, click on it. Under preview and positioning, these are the settings, and these are the settings for the custom of this object. Click on all parameters and click on car elevation style, and you're going to choose this style. Click on all parameters. Under sample style, and this is the view type, click on side. For 2D representation, choose this pen. These are the settings for the floor plan and section. These are the settings for the model, and these are the settings for classification and properties, and then click OK. Click once to insert your object, and then move and drag this object and place it there. Now let's edit this elevation. Let's edit this object. Under custom settings, we are going to choose front and click OK. And that's how you edit an elevation in ArchiCAD. In this next step, I'm going to show you how to create and how to edit sections using ArchiCAD. Under Viewpoint, select Section tool, click on it, click in this point, drag your mouse and click on this point to end your section line. Click on this section, right click and select section selection settings, and this will pop up. Now let's begin entering settings for this section. Under general settings, for the reference ID, type A. Under this, select this option. For this, select this option. For the status, choose that. For show on stories, select that. Under horizontal range, choose infinite. For the vertical range, select that. For the model appearance, these are the settings. For the marker settings, we are going to select this line, dot, and dashed. For the pen, select that, click on continuous and select this and check these boxes. For this, select this option. For the marker size, type 3 millimeters and then select that. For the marker text style, you can make it bold, italic, underline it, or strike through it. You can align them in these options. These are the settings for marker symbol and text. Select that. For the marker style, choose this. For the fields and colors, select this option and then choose align with section line. These are settings for the story levels. And these are settings for the story levels text style. These are the settings for the story levels symbol and text. And these are the grid tool settings. And then click OK. Click on section line, right click and select open with current view settings. And this is how section looks like. And you're going to begin by drawing the foundation, which will be a strip foundation. Under document, drop down to line tool, click on that point, drag your mouse and type 1200 millimeters by 200 millimeters. Type 200 millimeters. Type 600 millimeters. 200 millimeters. 200 millimeters and type 1200 millimeters and join those points. Select all our lines. At the top, click on Edit, Grouping, and select Ungroup. Join these lines. Under Document, click on Fill. Select that. Click on these points to draw your fill. Now let's edit our fill. Click on it, right click and select fill selection settings. And you're going to choose structural concrete and click OK. Let's change the color. Now let's draw a fill for the wall of our foundation. Click on the fill, right click, and let's change this fill to masonry block. Change the pen to that and click OK. Now let's drag a copy of this foundation. Right click, click on move, drag multiple copies and place the copies here and here. Under document, click on line tool and then draw a line here. Drag your mouse, click on the line, move by drag a copy of 250 millimeters. Click on line, click on this part, drag your mouse and type 1400 millimeters by 45 degrees. Let's join these lines. Move by mirror copy to this point. Move by drag it to this point. Drag a copy and place it here. Drag a copy of this and place it here. Move by dragging a copy, drag it that point, join those lines. Mirror a copy and drag this line to this point. Click on line, click on that point, draw your line on this other end too, then join this line, trim that part and this other part. The next step will be drawing fill. Under document, before we begin that, let's draw another line, and this time we are going to drag a copy by 50 millimeters and place it there. Under document, drop down to fill, click on fill tool, click on that point, that other point, and the other points as shown on the screen. Let's change the fill type. Click on fill selection settings and select this type of fill. Now let's draw the other part of the foundation. Click on fill and let's draw fill as shown on the screen. Click on the fill, right click, fill selection and select earth, and then click on this part to change the color of the line and click OK. Send it back, and that's how you draw a strip foundation using ArchiCAD. In this next step, I'm going to show you how to insert objects in a section. Let's continue. Under design, drop down to object, under design, drop down to object tool, click on it, and the object default settings will pop up. Type trees. These are the options you have. Click on that. Under preview and positioning, these are the settings for trees, and this is where you can change dimensions of the object. This is the height of the object. Under these settings, click on that and select 2D representation. Under view type, click on symbolic side view, and you're going to select this type of tree and change this color to that. These are the settings for the floor plan and section, and these are the settings for model. These are the settings for classification and properties, and click OK. Click once to insert object. Click on the object, right click, and click on object selection settings. Under preview and positioning, type 6500 limiter. Click on object. Under display order, send to back. Drag and position it there. Drag a copy of this object. Now let's insert shrubs in this elevation. Under design, drop down to object tool, click on it, and then type shrub. Click on this. Under preview and positioning, Here you can type in the dimensions of this object. Under shrub setting, choose this, click on this part and select 2D representation. For the view type, select symbolic side view, and for this choose that color. For the symbol type, choose that. These are the settings for floor plan and section. These are the settings for model, and these are the settings for classification and properties. Then click OK. Click once to insert your shrub. Now let's change the dimensions of our shrub. Under preview and positioning, type 2000 millimeters. Let's change it. Type 1000 millimeters. Now let's change this to 900 millimeters. Let's drag a copy of that object. Move by dragging a copy of these two objects. Now in this next step, I'm going to show you how to label parts of a section. Now let's begin. Under document, drop down to label tool, double click on it, and the label default settings will pop up. Under type and preview, these are the settings. Select that. Under text style, you can change the text. Under this, select that. You're going to select that. You can make it bold, italic, underline it, or strike through. These are the alignments of the labels, and this is the height or the size of the font. Choose that. These are the settings for the pointer. We are going to select that. We are going to choose this line. Click on that. Select that. Choose that one. Let's click on that. And for this, select that. Type 45 degrees. For the arrow head, we are going to choose this option. Type 2 millimeters. And for this pen, select that. These are the settings for text label. And these are the settings for properties. Then click OK. Let's begin by labeling our foundation. Click once and your label will be inserted. Click on that label. Let's change the position of our label. Now let's type in details for our foundation. Once we are done typing in the details for this, let's insert labels for the other parts of this section. And that's how you draw and label a section in ArchiCAD.